The Great Age of Babylonia, 2100 to 1100 BC. Moral and philosophical texts. The life of day before yesterday has departed today. Babylonian proverb. Who is there that can grasp the will of the gods in heaven? The Babylonian Job. Moral and philosophical texts. Introduction. With these texts we touch the true spirit of Babylonian religion. They come from the Assyrian library of Ashurbanipal, but are all of them copies of Babylonian originals. Their spirit is earnestly moral, dignified, thoughtful, but not highly elevated, deeply searching or spiritually beautiful and ennobling. Right and wrong are quite clearly seen and defined. The god Shamash, who in earlier ages has been simply the sun, has become the god of justice, and man is to do right because Shamash will reward him on this earth. In other words, honesty is the best policy. Higher than that, spirit of seeking profit, the Babylonian thought hardly reached. From this statement we should perhaps accept the final text in the section, the lament of the pious ruler, often called the Babylonian Job. In this, the speaker, an ancient king, insists that he has acted rightly all his life, yet he has not been rewarded by the gods. He sees, like Job of the Bible, the breakdown of the two earthbound faith, that righteousness brings material prosperity, and even as Job does, he resolutely argues the case with his God. The poem never reaches the height or depth of Job's lament, yet it is the voice of a thinker, both keen and brave. In this way it far outranks anything else Babylonian. An Assyrian commentary on this poem gives the name of the speaker, the ancient king, as Tabi Utul Enlil of the Sumerian city of Nippur. The composition itself, however, seems Babylonian in origin. Tabi Utul Enlil may therefore have been a viceroy of Nippur under Babylon, or he may have been a merely traditional or imaginary monarch to whom a later poet thought the lament appropriate. Moral and philosophical texts. Babylonian proverbs. A hostile act thou shalt not perform, that fear of vengeance shall not consume thee. Thou shalt not do evil, that life eternal thou mayest obtain. Does a woman conceive when a virgin will grow great without eating? If I put anything down, it is snatched away. If I do more than is expected, who will repay me? And so forth. When thou seest the gain of the fear of God, exalt God and bless the king. A moralist's counsel. Thou shalt not slander, speak what is pure. Thou shalt not speak evil, speak kindly. He who slanders and speaks evil, Shamash, the god of justice, will visit recompense on his head. Let not thy mouth boast, guard thy lip. When thou art angry, do not speak at once. If thou speakest in anger, thou wilt repent afterward, and in silence sadden thy mind. Where is this to? Prayer, petition and prostration early in the morning shalt thou render him, and with God's help thou wilt prosper. In thy wisdom learn from the tablet, we would say learn from your books. A code paralleling the Ten Commandments. This code is found in an old incantation ritual. The ritual asks why the sufferer has been afflicted with bodily pangs and continues as above. The translation is by Professor M. Jastrow. Has he estranged father from son? Has he estranged son from father? Has he estranged mother from daughter? And carries on. Has he estranged companion from companion? I.e., has he sown dissensions among the members of a family or among friends? Has he, in the case of the captive, commanded take hold of him? In the case of one bound, said bind him? I.e., is he a ruler who has exercised unnecessary cruelty? A penitential psalm. The lament of the pious ruler, the Babylonian Job. There's a picture here, the walls of Babylon and the temple of Bel or Babel, as restored by Mr. William Simpson, RI, from recently discovered data in that era, in that time frame of this being written. There's a picture there. You see, depicting what it actually looked like. Great Age of Babylonia, 2100 to 1100 BC. The Tel El Amarna letters. The Babylonian tongue was used as the means of communication among different nations, even by the distant and powerful Egyptians. The Tel El Amarna letters. Introduction. The Tel El Amarna letters form one of the most astonishing discoveries and revelations in our searching of the past. Tel El Amarna is in Egypt, and a peasant woman delving there in the sand in 1888 found a mass of over 300 tablets stored in ancient boxes. She and her people tried to sell these singly and surreptitiously. Nothing like them had ever been found in Egypt before, and scientists at first glance took them for forgeries. Many were thus lost or broken before their value was discovered. Finally, the surprising truth was realized. These tablets found in Egypt, but written in the Babylonian tongue, were a collection of letters from foreign potentates, the carefully preserved diplomatic correspondence of the Egyptian court of about 1400 BC. The Babylonian tongue had become so widely known that it was used as the means of communication among different nations, even by the distant and powerful Egyptians. While these letters belong historically to Egypt rather than to Babylonia, they include the letters of a king of Babylon, Kadash Man Kaba, and of an early king of Assyria, Ashurbanipal. Chiefly, however, they are letters from Syria and Palestine. These regions were then subject to Egypt, but in constant upheaval, and the letters tell of war and treachery, of Hittite invasions and Amorite rebellions. There are also a number of letters from the governor of Jerusalem, not a Hebrew Jerusalem, for this was long before the days of David's capture of the city, but a Canaanite Jerusalem, a strong city on a height, which had been conquered by the Egyptians and entrusted to an appointed ruler, Abdikiba. Another name of even stronger biblical interest, which appears frequently in these letters, is that of the Kaburi, a wandering tribe or nomadic nation with the flocks. The word in its Babylonian spelling is almost identical with the word Hebrew, so that while we have no positive proof of the fact that Kaburi may well be the descendants of Abraham, this subject has been much discussed of recent years, probably following the printing of this book. The date of these letters is of the period of the Israelite captivity in Egypt, and as the Kaburi at this time were already in Palestine, they cannot be the descendants of Joseph and his brethren, the future followers of Moses into this promised land. The Kaburi would therefore represent such Hebrews as had not journeyed into Egypt, possibly the descendants of Lot, the future Moabites, or of Esau, or more probably the unnoted descendants of Jacob's first wife, the tribes of Leah. The Tel El Amarna letters, the Hittites' invasion of Damascus. Number 36, BM to King Anamuriya. This name frequently found in the letters is the Egyptian Nebmatra or Amenophis III. Son of the sun, my Lord thus says, this is thy servant Akizi. As the Amorite Z or S seems sometimes to represent the Hebrew Sh, this name might be compared with the Philistine Achish. And it carries on. The people of this thy servant are under thy yoke. This country is among thy lands, a city Katna. Katna is the present Katana, on the south of Hermon, west of Damascus. The city Katna is thy city. I am on the side of my Lord's rule. I am on the side of my Lord's rule yoke. Lo, the soldiers and the chariots of my Lord's government have received corn and drink, oil and honey, oxen and beasts, meeting the soldiers and the chariots of my Lord's dominion coming to me, etc., etc. Okay, here it has. We're looking for this 4. Okay, they are seizing them. Let him order his soldiers and his chariots this year, and let him take the land of Mahase, which is, others read Nuhase. It was a Hittite country and appears to be that of Mer-Ash under the Taurus, where a number of important Hittite remnants or remains are found. See especially B3132. The whole of it to the yoke of my Lord, when my Lord the soldiers of slaves are. Throughout the letters, the enemy is always called a slave dog, or son of a dog, as also in Egyptian texts. Okay, and here's some more reference numbers here. Footnotes. What's this? My Lord, truly they made. He steals their gold, my Lord, as has been said, there is fear, and truly they give gold, my Lord's sun God, my father's God. This appears as throughout the letters to apply to the king of Egypt. All the Egyptian kings were regarded as descendants of gods, and are so addressed in Egyptian records. We're looking for 7. Here it is. The text is much damaged. It goes on to speak of Idugama, the Hittite king. Idugama does not appear to be a Semitic name, but as we should expect in Hittite, it is Mongol, and compares with Akkadian as meaning the victorious lord. He is called Idugama by the king of Tyre, BM30, who mentions his fighting with Neboy-Yapiza and Azuru also. Probably his people. This text is much damaged. It goes on to speak of Idugama, the Hittite king in the country of the king of Egypt, who has taken various things, enumerated but not intelligible, including perhaps ships or boats and dwellings, and it mentions Neboy-Yapiza. It then continues, my Lord, to Iati and the city of Lapana. Probably Lapana is Lebo, now Lebwe, north of Baalbek. Okay, we're looking for 9. Here's 9. Okay, 9 here sees probably Ra'ath or Ra'os on the eastern side of the Bukhar plain, east of Zaleh, on the way from the Hittite country. Okay, this is probably ancient cities that they spoke of. Then you have 11, the land of what's this? 10. What's this relate to? Okay, for my Lord Azuia of the city Rahuzi, and to Iati of the city Lapana dwelt in the land of Huba, and Dasruf dwelt in the land of Amma. Okay, so Huba is identified by Dr. Bezold with the land of Hoba, Genesis 14:15, which was at the entering in north of Damascus. The entering in here and at Hamath means a pass between hills leading to the city. Must be like a passage. The land of or Amma, several times mentioned, appears to be the Old Testament land of Ham in northern Bashan near Damascus, Genesis 14:5. And 12, the city of Tismagi is Damascus in the land of Hobah. So very old cities here. Okay, continues. More information here on the Hittites and these different cities. Even more information about different cities as recorded by these people in that era, and others guessing at where they might actually be, and in accordance with the Bible and books, chapters, etc. The Amorite treachery. They must have done dirty on them. On certain people. Probably caused them to go to war or fight each other. Copy of a proclamation against Azeru sent to Egypt by Khani when sent again to Syria. So something's obviously gone down there. Trying to get rid of this guy, get him away from my gate, send him away from my gate, he says. More information on what went down with the Hittites, etc. The war in Phoenicia, letters from cities near Gebal. And obviously looks like several problems going on and supposed solutions. Northern Palestine, letters from Beirut. Letter from Sidon. Or Sidon, letters from Tyre. Could all fit in with the biblical account of the evil of Tyre. The name Abimelech at Tyre is interesting. It occurs as the name of a Phoenician king in the time of Ashurbanipal, 885 to 860 BC. Huzin is probably the modern El Ghazia, etc., etc. near Sidon. See the letters from Hazor after those from Tyre. This petty monarch was an enemy to the southern possessions of the king of Tyre. Is that in the reign of Ramses? Try to go back. Did that note say? What's that? 14. They have fought for a long time against me. There are no waters and no trees. Dr. Bezold has remarked that want of water was always the weakness of Tyre. In the reign of Ramses II, the Egyptian traveller Chabas, page 313, speaks of water sent to the island of Tyre in boats. Tyre is called by him the city of two ports, one being on the north called the Sidonian and one on the south called the Egyptian. Southern Palestine, letters from Joppa, letters from Ascalon, letters from Makeda, letters from Makeda. Going backwards by the looks of it. Letters from Giza, Gezer. Letters from Jerusalem. Okay, let's have a look at that because it probably was not the Hebrew or the Israel Jerusalem. To the king, my lord, thus says Adonizedek. The name of the king of Jerusalem is rendered Abdiba by Dr. Winkler, and Abditoba by Dr. Sacy. The second reading is possible in all cases but one, B102, when the sign used is not the syllabic value type but only key, KHI, or high, HI. This would mean servant of the good one. Okay. Adonizedek is meditating flight. He's contemplating running away, fleeing. His letter speaks of a raid on Gezer, Askelon, and as far as Lachish after the taking of Ajalon by the Hebrews, but they say nothing of Makkedah. From the book of Joshua we learn that after the battle of Ajalon the Hebrews pursued to Azekah, perhaps the ruin of Zak, east of Gaza, and to Makkedah 10:11, and then returned to Gilgal 15. An interval of unstated duration occurred while the five kings Adonizedek, Japhia, Hoham, Param, and Deber, verse 3, fled to Makkedah, where they were found hid in a cave. It was during this interval apparently that these Jerusalem letters were written. Okay, just a bit of history over there, what happened in Jerusalem. And what's this? Behold, O king my lord, arise, I say to the Paka, the resident of the king my lord, why should you tremble before the chief of the Aberi, 24, the Hebrews. Aberi, this is read by others Haberi, or allies. What's this? O king my lord, and Adonizedek is dust. Messages are asked of the king my lord, there is destruction by the foe of the lands of the king my lord. This letter, like others, clearly indicates a withdrawal of the Egyptian troops shortly before the appearance of the Hebrews. 106b, the salutation is broken but it's the same as before, from Adonizedek. A human sacrifice to Baal, which was a Canaanite god, right? Is that right? There it is there, sitting on his throne. Probably some sort of virgin or something there, and seated in the middle of him, or on his lap or something, on a pillow. It's probably his royal scepter. It's just a couple of lions images. Must be a damn huge statue. What's this? 36. Thou shalt march to our land, the land of Narima and the land of Kazib, and behold, these are fortresses of the king. Thou shalt march against the chieftains of the Hebrews. There is not a single ruler for the king of my lord. The king of my lord, they have destroyed all. What is meant is that the Egyptians, having come by sea to Askelon or Gaza, are to march to Jerusalem by the valley of Elah, the highway by which the Philistines came up against Saul. Chezib is in this valley, now Ain Kisba. The reign of Ramon laments. Slaughter is in the midst. Ramon is probably the Ramon of Benjamin, not far south of Shiloh, now the village of Ramon. Judges 20:45, etc. So it may be referring to that. It's referring to that in the Old Testament. Letters of the Lady Basmath. Either letters from the south of Palestine, royal letters, Disratus letters to Neb-Matra Amenhophis III, king of Egypt, my brother, by letter, thus Tusirata, king of Mitanni, thy brother. Tusa Eta, a Mongol name, father of conquest. Ata Sumara appears to mean destroying hero. Some more information here. So there must be a lot of battles going on. What's this? Go back, you just missed something. 8. Looking for 8. So may Ishtar, the lady of ladies, my goddess in Amanu, my brother's god, give peace. Amanu, the Egyptian god, Amen. That looks interesting. It's 14. The letter, some sort of letter, was addressed to Amenophis III and sent by the same two envoys, Mani and Gilias, already noticed. Gilias, the envoy who takes the messages in order to utter it, his duty be to go out because Amenophis III, the Egyptian ally, rules a far-off land, and I ruled in the city Ekhiben, the city of the god Simigus, the paternal deity. So have a look at that. 14, referring to Gilias. In Aramaic, Gilia is the native tongue Gilias, with the Mongol termination of the nominative indefinite. Ekhiben, possibly Kaban Madin in Armenia. Semigus is apparently a Mongol title for some deity, the eye of night or of sunset, either the moon or the evening star. Okay, this is interesting. 18. Where's this? 18, somewhere up here. Or down here somewhere. 17, 18. Proclaim thou for me that whatever people of Calais, west of the Minyan country, whatever people of Calais I have conquered are made subject. It says here the Minyans, Jeremiah 50, I think it's 51, 27, and in Psalms could be 65 verse 8. Targum lived west of Lake Van. The Hyksos are called Men or Menti in the Egyptian text. Oh jeez, it just jumped. The Minyans, Jeremiah, and Psalms. And Targum lived west of Lake Van. The Hyksos are called Men or Menti in the Egyptian text. Pepi, the Hyksos king, adored Set or Sut, who was adored also by the Hittites, and from whom Dusracha's father, Sultana, Set as his lord, was probably named. It would appear that the Hyksos, Hittites, and Armenians were of the same race. The land of the Men is said to have been near Assyria and east of Syria, which agrees. Interesting. And there's loads more information here. Here we go forward. Because you could be here all day. It's different. They're just basically different letters from different people over time, over the ages, certain eras. Ashurbanipal's letter to Amenophis IV, the great king, the king of Egypt, and so on. Thus Ashurbanipal, king of Assyria. This king's date has been placed as late as 1400 BC, but the dates are not accurately fixed. 48. Okay, as a present for thee, I have sent thee 2 manas of precious stones, and to enrich your daughter, my son's wife, he gave and an amulet to cause safety. Apparently, a Babylonian princess was to be sent to Egypt, and an Egyptian princess to Babylon. So they swapped, daughter swapped.